Alright, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rakah Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect. Alright, and the name of this lesson is Israel is scattered among the other nations and also look like them. All right. Okay. And not every Israelite gonna look like the so-called black man, or the Latino man. It have Israelites, what look like the other nations. Okay. And that's why you have to be careful. That's why you have to be careful. You can't just look at a man who look like from the other nations and just point out and say, that's a heathen, you know, or that's a Edomite, or a Chinese man, or Elamite or Hamite, Okay, it can't be carnal. Alright, you have to test by the spirit. Alright. This is Romans chapter 8. Romans chapter 8 verse 16. It says the spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of power. All right. Okay, you have to have discernment of the spirit. Test the spirit. Don't get carnal. All right. Okay. Let's get something here. This is 1 Samuel chapter 16 and verse 7. All right, and this is when Samuel, when the Lord sent Samuel, to choose one of the sons of Jesse, you know, you know, one son of Jesse who will, be new king of Israel, which we know is King David, the Lord chose. And this is just an example on what the Lord looks on, okay, what he sees, right? The Lord doesn't look what on man see. All right. But the Lord Yahweh said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance, or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For Yahweh seeth not as man seeth, for man looketh on the outward appearance, but Yahweh looketh on the heart. Alright, the mind. Okay, the Lord looks on the spirit. Okay, the man things carnal. Right, he looks on the outward appearance. You can't just judge on the outward appearance. Alright, because you don't know if that person could be an Israelite. Alright, Isaiah, let's get this. This is Isaiah chapter 55 and verse 8. It says, for my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith Yahweh. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. Right? So man, thoughts are carnal. Judging by the outward appearance, how the man look. Just quick to judge. The Lord looks on the spirit. Alright? Okay, the Lord judges by the spirit. Okay. Alright, probably we could, I don't know if you could read that same Samuel, 1 Samuel chapter 16 verse 7, probably you read it in the NLT. It says, but Yahweh said unto Samuel, don't judge by his appearance or the height, for I have rejected him. The Lord doesn't see things the way you see them. People judge by the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. All right, so the Lord judges by the Spirit. All right, I don't know if you can get that in the GNT. All right, the GNT here. This is slack here. Just get this. This is 1 Samuel, chapter 6, chapter 16. Slack here, stupid odds. All right, this is here. This is 1 Samuel chapter 16 and verse 17. Well, actually verse 7. Slack here. But Yahweh saith to him, pay no attention to how tall and handsome he is. I have rejected him because I do not judge as people judge. They look at the outward appearance, but I look at the heart. Already, Lord judges according to his Spirit. Alright? So that's it there. Okay. Alright, because it have Israelites that are scattered among the nations. Alright, they can just you have to judge, you have to judge, you have to be careful how you judge, let's get this. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 64. Okay, almost there. 64. Alright, it says, and Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. Alright. Okay, you have Israelites scattered among the heathen, also looking like them. Alright. Because Jake put their seed in the heathen woman, Okay, Jake started to mingle with the heathen woman. Alright. And the child started to look more like them. Alright. And also that shows you too that the father determines the seed, whether you're Israelite or heathen, okay. Let's get this slack here. Press the wrong thing. This is Numbers chapter 1 verse 18. Slack here. It says, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers. Okay? According to the number of the names from 20 years old and upward by their pools. Alright? That's what the Lord judges on. Slacky, that's, if he's your father determines if he's an Israelite, or he done, okay. Okay, which shows you too that there's no such thing as mixed. It can't be like half Israelite, half, he done, Edomite, whatever. It's either if it's a, Israelite or if it's a heathen. Alright? So the Israelite man, Jake put their seed in them heathen woman, and the child, might look more like them, like more like the mother, but he's still an Israelite. Alright? Okay. Let's get this. This is Jeremiah. This is Jeremiah chapter 12 and verse 9. Verse 9, it says, "Mine heritage is unto me." Okay. "Mine heritage is unto me as a speckled bird. The birds round about are against her. Come ye and assemble all the beasts of the field. Come, come to devour her," So Israel is like the speckled bird. They look like everybody, all the nations. All right. Okay. This is Ezekiel. This is Slacky, not Ezekiel. Ezra, Slack. Yeah, again, a little trip up there. Bear with me. This is Ezra chapter 9, verse 1. It says, "Now when these things were done, the princes came to me, saying, The people of Israel and the priests and the Levites have not separated themselves from the people of the land, doing according to their abominations, even as the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, the Ammonites, the Moabites, the Egyptians, and the Amorites." All right. "For they have taken of their daughters for themselves and for their sons, so that the holy seed have mingled themselves with the people of those lands. Yea, the hand of the princes and the rulers hath been chief in this trespass." All right. Because they was going with these heathen women, it was causing them to sin against the Lord, to go off. All right. They went off. Okay, when you read let's get this. This is Ezra. So okay, Ezra 10 and verse 17. It says, "And they made an end with all the men that had taken strange wives by the first day of the month." All right. They make an end of that because they was making Israel to go off. All right. I think when you read, let's get the GNT again. GNT. Let's get, this is the book of Ezra, chapter 10.
If God is your number one priority,
just let
always
us add
be close to Him. Never forget Him even when you are relaxing. Try KJV Bible Audio Daily Verses. You can receive God's blessings and grace.
So that here there. Stupid ads, This is Ezra chapter 10 verse 17. In the GNT. Alright, it says, "And within the next 3 months they investigated all the cases of men with foreign wives." Alright, pagan wives were put away. Alright, they put them away. Okay, when you read down, you see all these men had foreign wives. They divorced them and sent them and their children away. Alright, so they sent back the foreign wives, the heathen wives, and the children would wake with them back to the heathen nations. All right, and that's how Jake is scattered. That's how Jake is scattered. Right, so you see there. Okay. Let's get Nehemiah chapter 13 verse 23. 23, it says, "In those days also saw I Jews that had married the wives of Ashdod, which is like the Canaanites, of Ammon, and of Moab, and their children spake half in the speech of Ashdod, and could not speak in the Jews' language, but according to the language of each people. All right, those heathen, um, those heathen women was teaching the children their ways, their heathen ways. All right, and I contented with them and cursed them and smote certain of them. This is Nehemiah doing them, doing those who married, the strange woman, the heathen woman, you know, of them plucked off their hair and made them swear by a power, saying, Ye shall not give your daughters unto their sons, nor take their daughters unto your sons, or for yourselves. Right? Them heathen woman was making us go off. All right. Okay, we was departing from the Lord. So that's why you had to put them away. Okay, but you see here, that's how Jake was scattered, because we sent them back to the nations, and that's where they mix, um more look and become like them. But when really there's Jake, these Israelites. All right. Okay, this is here. This is First Ezra chapter First Ezra chapter 8 and verse 69. So like here, I don't know what happened here. Kind of blank. See, this blank in the middle. Looks like we get again. First Ezra chapter 8 verse 69. Don't understand this Salakia. Can't give him a problem here. Salakia, let me just get. Yeah, this is First Ezra chapter 9 and verse 8, Salakia 8. 8 and verse 69. All right, 69, and says, The nation of Israel, the princes, the priests, and the Levites have not put away from them the strange people of the land. All right, nor the pollutions of the Gentiles, to wit, of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, and the Moabites, Egyptians, and Edomites. For both they and their sons have married with their daughters, and the holy seed is mixed with the strange people of the land. And from the beginning of this matter, the rulers and the great men have been partakers of this iniquity. All right. Okay, so you see, this is how Jake gets scattered. Okay, because we was going with them heathen women. Okay, and we had to put them away because they was making us go off. Okay, So you see here, this is let's get Revelation. This is Revelation chapter 7 and verse 9. Verse 9, it says, And after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues. Okay, and slack here. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. All right, okay, the people, the kindreds, you know, different tongues, the nation, that's the Israelite foreigners. All right, the elect out to them. Jump down to verse, jump down to the senior says, and one of the elders answered and saying unto me, what are these which are arrayed in white robes? And whence came they? And I said unto him, so thou knowest. Because John the Revelator, you know, didn't know, those who was looking like, the other nations, you know. Okay, but they were Israelites. Okay, and he said unto me, these are they which came out, out of great tribulation, and have washed their robes, and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. All right, let's go to this is Revelation 5 and verse 9. It says, and they sung a new song, saying, thou art worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof, for thou wast slain and hast redeemed us to power by thy blood out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation. All right, the Israelite foreigners were gathered back up. You know, okay, some of the Israelite foreigners, they joined the elect. All right, you know, the elect out to them. Okay, so I hope this lesson was edifying. You know, Israelites, are scattered. They have Israelites who scattered, and who look like the other nations. Okay, so this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rakah Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect. Wa Abad Babal Shalom.